Have you ever wondered what makes a character design so memorable that you instantly recognize it? We can think of many examples, right? There's that character from a cartoon or game where you only need to see their silhouette, color, or even a characteristic pose to know who they are. But what's behind this? What's the secret formula that makes a character stick in our memory? Well, there's no set recipe, but there are a few fundamental ingredients that, when used skillfully, can turn any idea into something truly unforgettable. And that's what we're going to explore today. The elements that make a character design memorable. By the way, if you're tired of drawing and feeling like nothing is improving, pay attention. Marc Brunet's art school for digital artists was what pulled my drawings out of stagnation and gave me an insane boost. It's like going through an art school, but for a fraction of the price and only with what really matters. Perspective, anatomy, color, composition, and much more, all explained step by step, from beginner to advanced. It is, by far, the best and most complete art course on the market. Don't waste time stuck at the same level. The link's in the description. Check it out now. Let's get back to the video. Starting with the basics, the silhouette. Think about the last time you saw an iconic character. It could be Mario, Sonic, or even a superhero like Batman. Now, try to imagine this character just by their shadow. No details, just the basic shape. Can you do it? That's the power of the silhouette. The silhouette is the visual skeleton of the character. When well crafted, it makes the character instantly recognizable, even in a confusing setting or from a distance. And this isn't an accident. Character designers know that a good silhouette can make all the difference between a forgettable character and an unforgettable one. The key here is simplicity and clarity. A silhouette that's too complex, full of details and confusing shapes, tends to be forgettable. But a clear, distinct, and simple form stays in our minds. If you draw a circle with a mustache and a cap, most people will immediately think of Mario, for example. The idea is to create something so strong and striking that even in its most basic form, the character's essence remains intact. Personality in design, the soul of the character. A good silhouette grabs attention, but what really makes us connect with a character is personality. And here, visual design plays an essential role. The way the character dresses, their facial expressions, the way they move, all of this communicates who they are, what they feel, and what they want. Take the example of Snoopy, the laid-back and friendly dog from the Peanuts comics. Even though it's a very simple drawing, his personality shines through in every gesture, in every detail. We know Snoopy is relaxed, confident, a bit of a dreamer, just by looking at him lying on top of his doghouse with that carefree smile. Or take Iron Man. Tony Stark's armor is super high-tech, full of details, but it's his arrogance and confidence that reflect in the suit's design, with sharp angles, metallic shine, and vibrant colors. The key here is that a character can't just be about appearances. They need to be more than cool clothes or a stylish haircut. Every design detail needs to reinforce the character's personality, creating a visual story. Because in the end, what makes a character unforgettable is our emotional connection to them. And that emotional connection comes from personality. Colors, creating identity. Let's talk about color now because this is one of the most important factors in creating a memorable design. And it's not just about choosing a nice color. In character design, color is about visual identity. When you think of Pikachu, what comes to mind? The bright yellow, right? And Darth Vader? Black. These colors weren't chosen by chance. Colors can be used to convey emotions, status, and traits. Red, for example, is associated with energy, passion, even danger. Blue gives a sense of calm, confidence, and so on. When a designer chooses a character's color palette, they're telling the audience how they want that character to be perceived. Now, here's something interesting. A good character design doesn't need a rainbow of colors. Often, less is more. Think of Batman, for example. He's practically all black, with some touches of gray or blue depending on the version. And that makes perfect sense for a character who operates in the shadows, who is mysterious and intimidating. The color reinforces the central concept of the character. So, when creating your character, don't just choose colors because you think they're pretty. Think about how they will help tell the character's story, how they will make them stand out and be recognizable in any situation. Shapes and proportions. The key to identification. Let's go a step further and talk about shapes and proportions. These elements might seem like technical details, but they have a huge impact on how the character is perceived. The way you draw the lines, angles, and body proportions can say a lot about a character without them needing to say a word. For example, characters with rounded shapes generally convey a sense of cuteness, kindness, or even vulnerability. Think of the minions. They're practically walking circles. This makes us associate them with something funny, friendly, even childlike. Now compare that to a character like Colonel Miles Quaritch from Avatar. The angular shapes with straight and hard lines convey rigidity, seriousness, and a certain threat. All of this is part of the design and helps reinforce who the character is, without needing much dialogue. Additionally, proportions also tell a story. Take the Hulk, for example. He's a giant with enormous arms, exaggerated muscles, and this disproportion makes him seem incredibly strong and intimidating, which is essential to the character's identity. A character like Alice in Wonderland, with her more delicate and feminine proportions, gives us a sense of fragility and innocence, which perfectly fits her story. The point here is that, when designing a character, the shapes and proportions need to align with the message you want to convey. Want to show strength? Use angular shapes and exaggerated proportions. Want to express cuteness? Go for rounded shapes and more compact proportions. Iconic details, the trademark. Now we come to what might be the most fun part of a memorable design: iconic details. These are the elements that, when you see them, you instantly associate with the character. It could be Mario's mustache, Harry Potter's scar, or Cloud's giant sword from Final Fantasy. These details aren't just accessories, they become an integral part of the character and their identity. A good example of this is Ash's hat from Pokémon. As simple as it is, that hat became almost a symbol of the character himself, something we recognize instantly. And it's this kind of detail that helps cement a character in the audience's memory. But be careful. It's no use loading the character with details if they don't have a purpose. Every accessory, every scar, every piece of clothing needs to make sense within the character's story. If the character has a clawed glove like Wolverine, there has to be a reason for it, whether within the story or to visually reinforce the personality. The evolution of design, a character in motion. Now, think with me. A memorable character doesn't need to be static. In fact, many of the most iconic characters in history have gone through evolutions over time. They've changed their looks, their clothes, their style. But what remains is the essence. What makes the character recognizable, even with all the changes? A good example is Sonic himself. Sonic from the 90s is quite different from modern Sonic, but he's still Sonic. He kept that rebellious attitude, the blue color, and of course, the red shoes. These changes over time are important because they show that a character's design can grow with the audience without losing its essence. The secret here is understanding that character design isn't rigid. It can and should evolve, adapt, but always keeping that something that makes it special. After all, that's what will ensure that it remains memorable, even for new generations. In the end, what makes a character design unforgettable isn't just aesthetics, but the combination of several factors: a strong silhouette, a striking color palette, shapes that tell a story, and details that stick in memory. All of this, combined with the character's personality, creates something unique, going beyond visuals and generating an emotional connection with the audience. So, if you want to create characters that people will never forget, start by focusing on the essentials: who they are, what they represent, and how the design can convey that clearly and impactfully. If this video helped you, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next ones. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to check the description. There are several important links that can help you even more. See you in the next video.